Good afternoon, everybody. So as we just spoke about, my name is Beth. I am the partnership manager here at IE Hub. I'm going to spend the next half an hour or so with you, just talking you through who we are at IE Hub, what we do, and kind of our offer to you guys as ReferKent network members. I'll give plenty of time at the end for Q&A, but if you do have any questions as I'm saying anything, either feel free to pop your virtual hand up or pop something in the chat and I'll pick it up at the end. So I'll probably start with setting the scene about who we are at IE Hub for anybody who maybe hasn't heard of us before. We are a fintech company, but the thing that makes us a little bit different is we are a financial tech for good company, which means that we are purpose driven, we're not profit led. And we demonstrate that in a few different ways by providing our tool free of charge to customers and also to any third sector organisation, so your charities and your debt advice organisations. In its simplest form, IE Hub is an online budgeting tool, but it does a lot more than just help people to budget their money. We exist because we want to help support people in vulnerable situations on their journey to financial stability. And we do that in a few different ways, from helping them to better manage their money and their debts, to maximising their income by conducting benefit checks, social tariff entitlement checks, and looking at any grants they may be eligible for. Within the tool, there's the capabilities to declare any vulnerabilities or additional needs that the customer may have. And then we give them the opportunity to share all of that information to any company that they want to with the click of a button. So it makes the process of engaging with creditors, service providers, and third sector organisations a whole lot easier for the customer. Something that I'll talk about in a couple more slides time is all about income and expenditure fatigue and the current state of play with this. But with the IE Hub tool, our aim is to eradicate that current income and expenditure fatigue that a lot of people in financial hardship face by providing them with IE Hub. They are able to do their budget once, they're able to do it right, and then they're able to share it with many. So it alleviates the need to repeat the same conversation with creditor after creditor after creditor. I feel like every good company has a vision. So this is what ours is. It's around bringing together communities of lenders and service providers, all for the good of the customer. And collaboration is really the key to helping some of the most vulnerable people in our communities unlock that additional support. And that's why we work with organisations cross-sector to really maximise the impact that we can have, whether that be your local authorities or housing associations, utility companies or charities. We're really building a network of like-minded organisations, but we're always looking for opportunities to expand our partner network. So if at the end of this you're interested in having a further conversation with me, Sharon will share all of my details with you and we can definitely pick that up offline. These are just a few of the partners that we're working with today. So hopefully you can see kind of the breadth of different organisations that we're working with. So from your gas distribution networks to your charities, to other utility companies, to banks. So how do customers get into IE Hub then? What do we do? How do we actually help them? Typically, customers who use IE Hub have been referred to us by a company that they're either in debt with or being supported by. The company will ask the customer to create an income and expenditure, which is best known as a budget, and share it back with them. That then allows that company to better understand their finances, and then they can set up a payment plan which is affordable and sustainable if they're a creditor. Or if they've shared their budget with a support organisation, it's about looking for the right solution based on that customer's circumstance. But every customer who goes through the IE Hub journey will receive kind of a staple amount of services from us. The first one is a budget, and it's a budget that can be easily updated if and when their circumstances change. I don't know about you guys, but if I compare my food shopping in January last year to my food shopping today, it's very different. So instead of me having to rewrite down all of my expenses or go into a spreadsheet and try and find exactly what figure I put in for my weekly food shop, they have an online account which is theirs for as long as they want it to be. And every time they go in, make a change, they'll get the benefit check, the social tariff, check, the grant check, all of that revamps. So let's say, for example, we've got a customer who, when they originally joined IE Hub and created their account, they may have had an income of £2,000. That was a salary. They've subsequently lost their job. They are having to pick up hours on a zero, pick up shifts on a 0-hour contract, and it's getting them in about £1,000 a month at the moment. That's a massive life shock. That is a huge change to the budget that they used to be working with. So by making sure we're doing all of these income max checks, we're trying to better the customer's overall situation. And not just financially either. We've got things in place like a priority services check. For those who don't know, the priority service register is a free service provided by utility companies, which provides customers with additional practical support completely free of charge. So we're looking at, alongside the financials, do they need any additional practical support? Are there any organisations that they would benefit from engaging with? So if the customer has declared they've got a vulnerability, perhaps they are living with a disability or caring for a loved one, we'll look at trying to get Scope, the leading pan-disability charity, in front of them, explain to them what Scope is, and then they can make a choice to share their budget with Scope for the purpose of a disabled specialist being able to engage with that customer and get them what they need. Those partnerships that I mentioned are really fundamental in our business, and for anybody on the call who works kind of in the affordability, vulnerability remit, you'll all understand the impact of getting the right support at the right time and what that can really have on a customer's life. And that's why we make personalised recommendations for each customer, and we encourage them to share their budget with relevant charities, debt advice organisations, in order for them to get the right support that is going to be bespoke based on their circumstances. So this sounds great, but why is IE Hub different? What's the solution that you're trying to give us? I hear some of you say rhetorically. Well, actually, I mentioned in the opening slide that the current income and expenditure capture process is suboptimal at best. But if I kind of draw that out a little bit here, so above all, we are a data company. And our data shows us that typically customers are struggling with an average of 7 to 9 creditors. So what that means for that individual who is in financial difficulty is if they contact creditor A, B, and C, they're going to be asked about their affordability information, because that creditor ultimately is going to want to know what can this customer afford to pay. So that is a customer having to engage with all of these creditors separately, being asked the same questions. It's a repetitive cycle. It's an awful lot of time and energy that is spent completing these separate income and expenditures, having these separate conversations with strangers. And from a customer experience perspective, that brings a lot of stress. It brings a lot of anxiety to the customer. And this slide is essentially showing that current state of play. When you then dig down deeper into it, because every company has their own approach, they have their own processes, there's a lot of inconsistencies across the sectors as to how income and expenditures are captured by each different creditor and service provider. And those inconsistencies lead to inaccuracies in the data. So that means then nothing but poor outcomes for the customer. Something that my colleague told me when I joined IE Hub is, think about it like this. Each creditor and service provider is speaking to Beth. So they're talking to the same customer, but because of their processes, the questions they ask, the way they ask them, each of them will hold a slightly different version of that customer. And that leads to different decisions that's being made about the different support available for them, what is affordable, and what constitutes as a sustainable arrangement. You've then got a customer potentially having to manage multiple different communication channels, because as organisations, we offer omni-channel as a way of engaging with customers. But you might have your bank who is calling you. You might have your utility companies, one of which has sent you out a paper form, one which has sent you out a link to a digital portal. And this is happening 7, 8, 9 different times. So as an individual, it's really tricky to keep on track and understand, right, what did I commit? Who did I commit what to? And what does this mean for my bottom line? So essentially, this kind of creates the perfect storm for unrealistic and unsustainable outcomes, which often result in broken arrangements. And then for that customer, for Beth, they're launched back to the start of the journey. Using IE Hub, what we're trying to do is break that cycle and reinvent the way customers are able to manage their money and engage with their creditors. By doing their budget once using IE Hub, they're able to take their time, do it right, and then we're giving them the autonomy to share that information with any creditors, service providers, or third sector organisations that they want to. So hopefully now you know a little bit more about who we are at IE Hub and what it actually does. I'll now talk about how it works. So in essence, the tool is made up of two different components. You've got the customer portal and then you've got the partner portal. The customer portal is the self-serve journey. So this is where a customer can visit our website right now. They can create themselves a single SFS compliant income and expenditure for free. They can choose to populate their budget manually, or maybe they want to use open banking to do it, and they can add all the different bank accounts that they have and get a pretty accurate budget. Once they've populated their income and expenditure, IE Hub will then start to flag what support is available for them. And that includes, as I've already mentioned, things like additional benefits that they can claim, discounted tariffs or grants with water, broadband, mobile. And within the journey, they also get those personalised recommendations and suggested next steps, which includes who do we think they should be sharing their budget with. We are kind of the in-between for the customer. We do not act on behalf of the customer. We do not act on behalf of the creditor. We are the facilitator of helping that customer to engage with the creditor, and indeed creditor to engage with the customer. We don't provide any advice, just suggestions. The other side of the journey is through our partner portal, and essentially the journey that I just mentioned about it being self-served for the customer isn't always going to be possible. Unfortunately, in 2024, we still have digital exclusion. It is still a problem. Not everybody has the tools, i.e. a phone, tablet or computer, or the means, data, to be able to actually engage with a digital channel. So the partner portal enables organisations to complete the journey on the customer's behalf. That could be a creditor doing it, it could be a charity doing it. And depending on the customer's need, they may need the whole income and expenditure to be completed. They may need part of it, or they may just need the journey starting for them. The partner portal is also where any budgets that have been shared with that organisation can be picked up. So let's say in the context of an advice organisation, it might be Beth goes to Citizens Advice to try and get a little bit of extra help. Ahead of the appointment with Citizens Advice, they say, right, I'm going to send you out a link. Please complete as much of your income and expenditure as possible and share it back with me, and we'll go through it when we have the appointment with you. So that means that that first appointment, instead of it being quite transactional and data collection and input for the advisor, they've already got visibility of the customer's budget beforehand, and that first initial appointment can be much more solution-based conversations. For example, I can see IE Hub has found an extra £500 a month that you could be entitled to. Have you gone on to make that claim? Do you need any support making that claim? I can see that you're entitled to a discounted water tariff. Do you need any help engaging with your creditor? Have you thought about sharing your budget with them using IE Hub? So it can be much more tailored. So as I said, customer-led journey or partner-led journey. And this is essentially just a nice way of showing you this. And as I said, Sharon will, I'm sure, share the slides at the end. So you please check this out in further detail. But essentially, it is just showing the three most common journeys for customers: the self-serve, the hybrid, and then the fully supported journey. There are quite a lot of benefits for customers who use IE Hub, but I wanted to consolidate it into four main areas, which I think you will be most interested in. So from a time-saving perspective, for both the customer and the company, we're eliminating the need to go through countless income and expenditures with numerous creditors, giving customers the means to do their budget once and do it right, then go on to share it, that is saving the customer time, and as a direct consequence, it's having a positive effect on a customer's well-being. We often engage with our customers. We're building up what we like to call a community. And when we last engaged with that community, 83% of IE Hub users said their financial anxiety was reduced as a consequence of using the IE Hub tool. And that's something that we're really proud of. It's huge in the grand scale of things. The kind of feedback that we got off the back of that survey is, because customers aren't having to repeat their situation again and again and again to all these different strangers, for want of a better word, it's meant that that feeling of shame and embarrassment has been subsided. It's taken that away. Then, because creditors and service providers have got an accurate picture of what that customer can pay, the payment plans that are being set up are sustainable. They're being kept to, because the customer knows who they've agreed what with. It's there, it's accessible at any point, day or night, in the IE Hub account. In the long term, those payment plans that are being set up are being kept to, and we're reducing customers' debt position. We're helping them to get back on track. And then finally, and arguably most importantly, we're actually bettering the customer situation, with almost 70% of IE Hub users finding that they're entitled to an average of £433 a month additional income. So that's over £5,000 a year. People just don't know they're entitled to it. And it's kind of the age-old tale of, you don't know what you don't know. So we're trying to highlight all of that extra support available for the customer, including things like water social tariffs. Nearly a quarter of people using the tool at the minute have no idea that they're entitled to a discount on their water bill. And in some cases across the UK, that's the difference between 80%. Some might go from paying £10 a week to £2 a week on their water bill. So it's all of these little things that, once compiled, make a massive difference. This is just kind of a bit of a snapshot of what some of our current customers are saying about us. Again, please feel free to have a little look once that deck is circulated. And if I can direct you towards watching Vicky's video, I think that kind of brings to life, hopefully, everything that I've spoken about today. So this is probably kind of where I'm going to end. But as members of ReferKent, we would love to work with you, whether that be a signposting partnership, for example, giving you a link to IE Hub, which you can share with your residents, customers, clients, the people that you're supporting, hosting it on your website, running dual branded social media campaigns, putting it in your letters to help engagement. Can also help you to reach your target audience. So if you are looking to engage with a particular demographic of customers, we've got a really intuitive system which allows us to build in logic and highlight your support services or the support available to your customers by just working with you. We also have an incredibly engaged community, as I said earlier. So we can push out targeted comms, targeted messages, help you get in front of your target audience. If you wanted to work with us to actually run through IE Hub with service users, clients, residents, please get in touch, because we can explore providing you with tools like the partner portal. If you're a third sector organisation and you're going to be using it purely for support purposes, then you're going to be able to have access to that, a fully customized built system, completely free. There's also the opportunity for integration with your systems as well. So my background is water industry, and I know that we kind of worked off one particular system. You don't really want to have a load of different links for your advisors, your agents to have to go to. So actually, if integration of IE Hub into one of your existing platforms is something you're interested in, we can absolutely discuss that as well. So I really hope you found that useful and you've learned something, and maybe you hadn't known about IE Hub before, you do now. If you're interested in having kind of those partnership exploratory conversations, please reach out. I can book you in for a demo of the system so you can really get to feel it, you get to see how it works, and we can also explore those opportunities. So as I said, my name is Beth. My email is about as simple as it gets, beth@iehub.org. Please do reach out and I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you, and please, if anybody has any questions, more than happy to take them now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Beth. That was really, really informative and really helpful just to kind of learn a bit more about what IE Hub does. So
Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you've just had to listen to me for 20 minutes talk straight at you. So I do hope it was useful, whether you're a creditor or a support organisation. We definitely have ways of working with you, and I would love to have some time with you all individually. But Sharon, thank you for allowing us to open Relay Week. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for coming along. I will let you all go. I'll share some information in the chat just regarding ReferKent and things like that. And no problem at all for being late. We'll share the information for you. And what I'll do as well for anyone in the chat, you should be able to have access to it. Just the rest of the week has also got some more events going on. So if anyone wants to come along to any of those, I will share those in the chat for you. So thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.